Hi, I'm Liz Larson.
And I'm Bill McKenna. We're the founders of Cognomovement, and today we're going to be presenting some results from experiments that we did at the Blind Frog Ranch.
These experiments took place in late August of 2021, where we visited the Blind Frog Ranch with a machine called the BioWell, and we tested 13 people to discover whether or not there were anomalies in the energetic output of the bodies on the ranch and off the ranch. What we discovered were some extra normal, extraordinary results and numbers, which we're going to share with you now. We tested 13 people. Of those 13 people, 4 of us had never been on the ranch and had never spent time on the ranch. The rest were Dwayne, Charlie, Chad, family and extended family and crew that spend time on the ranch on a regular basis. We wanted to see if there was a difference between those of us who had not spent time, those of us who did spend time off the ranch and on the ranch. We will show you some average numbers that we see regularly, Bill and I, in our work. We'll show you my chart and Bill's chart because we have permissions to show those, with the understanding that we found the same findings across the board that we will show you in our own charts. So the testing began in Vernal, Utah in the store. So not on the ranch, before the ranch, and testing of all subjects. We measured with a machine called the BioWell, which measures the energetic output of the body as measured in joules. It also can show you the balance of the organs, also measured in energy and electrical output. The images that we're going to show you will also show the energetic field around the body and how it was affected by the energy both on and off the property. So Bill, will you begin to show us the first chart?
This, to give you a little bit of perspective, Liz Larson, this is, as you can see here, September of 2019. So a couple years ago, when this history of readings, as far as on this page, when we had started with her. And as you can see, there is a figure here, as she mentioned, a joule. What is a joule? A joule, you could look at it as like a calorie of electricity. It's this is a electrical measurement. So how much electricity her system is putting out in gross, and then also the system can break it down into any particular organ. Now, they're able to decipher, utilizing this system, her entire body and where the deficiencies are, or where there's an excess amount of energy. But as you can see here, as we go through, there's somewhere in the 50 range. There's 50, 53, 55, 56. As you go right through, you see this is over a couple year period of history with her where she typically resides. 51, that would be, right in the middle of around there of what you can actually visually see as well, what she looked like. Now, what happened is we went into town, Vernal, and went to the store and did the very first test. So Vernal is in the valley, and just by being in the valley, there was a massive jump. She went from 51 joules, or 50, 55, something like that, up to 66. You can see how much more vibrant her energy and how much more filled in it is. We then we took the 45-minute drive out to Blind Frog Ranch, and look what happened. 79 joules. Now, you can see again how much more full it is. Just to give you perspective, in the years that we've been doing this testing of people, never have seen anything that high. And that was just by her stepping on the ranch. She then went in the water, and there's the pond there. And this is what happened after she got out of the pond. Look at this. 85. Absolutely outstanding. The field becomes very, very dense. You see, look at the density. It's all filled in, this light blue color there. And then after the pond, she sat out and she sat over by the rocks. And there's a rock area that got excavated. And the energy dropped a little bit from 85 down to 78. Still remarkable. Now, she spent the night on the ranch, and the next morning she got up, and here it is, 86 joules of energy. So, which again is a tremendous amount of electricity. Now, she took the trip back, as you can see here, 8:31 in the morning. She gets back to Vernal, and she's off the ranch. Look at what happens. This is, by the way, 6 in the morning when she was on the ranch, 8 in the morning. It dropped to 67. So all in all, it was really a massive leap up, and also a big pullback when she wasn't on the ranch. But still, 67 is, and the amount that this is all filled in is dramatically different than here, 51. It's absolutely a very dramatic difference.
So what we want to point out as well is that in the 50s, the range in the 50s to the low 60s is what we see as normal. In the tests, a couple of hundred of tests that Bill have done, we find that that is normal. We also know that after a session doing our work, that there may be about a 10-point jump. This is one of the reasons that we were aware that this was a possibility, and an explanation for why the healings that are happening on Blind Frog Ranch might be happening is that the body is being supported by extra energy. In our work, when we see the energy, even 10 points measured in joules, return to the body changes and heals very rapidly. And that is what is being seen on Blind Frog Ranch, that people are attending the ranch, spending some time getting in the water, and experiencing what appears to be a miraculous healing. So we wanted to test to see if that played out with the jump in energy as measured in joules on the ranch, the same way it plays out in our work. So the next scans that you're going to see are actually Bill's scans, and we're going to show you the jump in energy balance. So not only is there a change in the amount of energy output of the body, upwards of sometimes 30% in excess of a body's normal energetic output, but also a balanced change in the organs. So we please present that, Bill, show what the balance look like for you.
Okay, so this chart shows us the balance, energy balance in all of the different organs that are in our body. We have 32 different organs that we measure. Here's the legend below here. You have your throat, your spleen, your spine, your adrenals, so on and so forth. And this axis over here is the energy in joules. Now, any of these that are, each bar here represents the sympathetic and parasympathetic, that's left and right? And if it is lit up, highlighted, that means that organ happens to be out of balance in between sympathetic and parasympathetic. With this, you can see back here from November of 2020, you can kind of see a history of me. So these are real actual tests that we did over that period of time. You can just see relative kind of performance for me of where I was over time. Now you can see my what's in balance and out of balance, and about how many bars are in and out of balance. Now, this reading right here is the reading when I got to Vernal. I went to the store there in Vernal, and we took the measurements, same place that Liz did. You can see the energy is significantly higher, but there is a lot out of balance, right? A lot of things that are over there towards the right side of the blue. We then got to the ranch. When we got to the ranch here, you can see that it came much more in balance, and then I went into the actual water and came out. You can see, I think that was a couple hours there, and here everything went into balance. So this is a real significant change as well. You can see here, after I got out of the water, if you look at the number of joules, 86. And you can see how vibrant the field is and how filled in it is. It's amazing. To give you, again, perspective, here is me over time, right? 56, 48, 53, 48, 56, 60, doing good, really good, 62, 63, right? 64. So these are really, really great figures, but they pale in comparison to this. Is over time, you can see that this is amazing difference. And this system will even tracks your energy centers, and you can see how very large these become. With the way this interprets it is when your energy, it knows the size or the energy output of the different energy centers. Again, significantly different than this. All right, Liz.
So you can see just from our two tests that the numbers are definitely outside of normal, extra normal, and extraordinary. So the next one that we want to show you is just Dwayne's, because we have permission, and also that he spends a lot of time on the ranch. So we want to show you a specific test that shows Dwayne's chakra alignment. So if you look here, this is quite unusual to have this kind of an alignment. Show the next screen, Bill.
Okay, so here's Dwayne before, when he was in Vernal. Again, this is the same. And then we ended up going to the ranch, and the alignment changed, and it obviously a lot more energy. And then he put his feet in the water. He didn't get it all the way in the water. And then after that, we were sitting on the rocks here, and it just all went into alignment for him, pretty close to alignment.
Good. And would you show us to Dwayne's jump in energy as output in joules? Where did he start and where did he end?
Okay, so Dwayne, very interesting here, given he's spent so much time on that ranch. Again, a pretty significant reading just in the store itself. And then he got to the ranch. It jumped up significantly. And this was him with his feet in the water. And then that was after, over towards the rocks.
So Dwayne started out with a high number to start with, and then jumped just under 20 points, about 18 points. Is that correct?
Yeah, but this I guess the best way to point this out is it's just relative. These are figures that we just don't see in ordinary life. that this is all based upon the location, because this happened to everybody there, one after the next. It was amazing to see the change leap up for everybody just by stepping on the ranch. So there wasn't anyone who was not affected.
So our recorded findings were definitely out of the ordinary for what we see on a regular basis. And like Bill said, it was across the board. And we measured people from about 3.5 years old to near 70 years old. Across the board, everyone had the same kind of significant jump in energy when they got onto the ranch. So we can just assume that it is the property itself and not only the water. Most people had a jump, though smaller jump, yet significant, when they did go into the water. One person only had a 1-point jump in joules in the water, but an overall large jump nearing 20 points, which is not something we see on a regular basis, not in a 1-day period. So the findings are there are definitely things happening on the ranch, and it is energy we know that is supportive of the body because it creates significant change in what happens in the body. So what we know is that when the body does have more energy, that energy then can be used by the body to heal, to go to the frontal lobe for more thinking, more clarity, more creativity, more positivity, higher mood. We also see in our own work a jump in energy as reported in joules through the BioWell machine will correlate also to higher awareness. Sometimes it correlates to people having greater psychic ability or healing ability as well. We believe that the higher the energy level, the energy output, and the better the balance, the more the consciousness and awareness takes a jump. So we're seeing that as well on Blind Frog Ranch. I interviewed all of the people who spend time there, as well as the people who didn't. My findings were this: Dwayne and his family and the crew that spend time there report that they are very high in mood on a regular basis. They all reported independently of each other that their creativity was off the charts. Their mood, their sleep, all scored very, very high when questioned. Most people do not report these kind of high mood, high energy on a regular basis. The thing that struck me the most is that when it came to relationships, I had to push really hard for them to think of even one relationship in each of their lives that fell out of the boundaries of really good. So what I noticed was everyone that spends time there finds themselves in what appears to be a higher consciousness, higher awareness state. When I came to the ranch, I had a significant health problem that was presenting. I have a genetic lung anomaly or illness, and it was really flared up. I was having issues with lung and liver as well. When I got to the ranch, my breathing changed significantly, but was not clear for the first day. But there was a significant change that did correlate with the kind of energy that I was experiencing. I spent 2 days further at the ranch. What I noticed on the 4th day on the way home is that I breathed normally for the first time in 19 years. I can tell you that this was significant. Now, those results did not last. They lasted about 12 hours. However, my overall state was about 75 to 80% better in general. My belief is that had I stayed at the ranch longer, even more days, 5, 6 days, that there may have been the possibility of a complete turnaround in this illness. What I did do was I had 2 crystals that came home with me from the ranch that I put on my body, which does make a significant change. Of course, this is anecdotal because I don't have proof through the BioWell machine, but I can tell you that I feel differently, and my breathing is changed and very much improved by using the crystals that have spent time on the ranch. The other thing we did is we took water from the ranch that we put into vials, which you can see here, and filled the bottles with water. The water was then electromagnetically charged, and I'll tell you why we know this. When I got in the pond specifically, after about 20 minutes, I started to get a shock all over my body, little tiny shocks. At first, I thought I was being bitten. Every time I went in the pond after this, I noticed the same phenomenon after about 20 minutes. Now, I will tell you that it was not comfortable and was very much equated to being zapped by something, but little tiny spots all over my body. That electrical shock happened when I took a drink of the water for up to 7 days after returning home from the ranch with only this amount of the water from the pond. So anecdotally, there is an electromagnetic charge in the water that is affecting the body. So also Bill had an experience with health while he was there. Do you want to share that, Bill?
I have a digestion. I have to watch what I eat because my digestion, I can't readily digest meats and different things. It's a little bit hard for me. And so I just, I have a diet that I'm fine if I stay with, grain, some organic grains and fruits and stuff like that. I'm just fine. But being on a trip, from where I live, it's a 14-hour drive, and I'm staying in hotels and different things. So the temptation to eat, foods that I love, but I know that they're not going to digest very well. And it gives me quite a bit of pain. But I ended up basically wanting to test it out, right? See how it goes. So we went out to breakfast after Blind Frog Ranch. I went breakfast on the way home, and eggs are, something that's kind of a no-no for me, and, breakfast meats and what have you. But and hash browns, typical American breakfast. But anyway, I had it, and I had it multiple times. And there I was digesting, felt just fine, zero pain. So I thought that was pretty cool that that happened. I don't really know. I don't press it very hard. Now that I'm back home, I eat normal to keep my digestion running right. Just to further validate something that Liz said, I have the biowell, so I'm able to test. So the water that we took from the pond, actually, I would get up in the morning, and then I just grab the bottles of water and just hold those bottles of water for 3-4 minutes. I would do a test before I held the bottles of water from Blind Frog Ranch, and then after, and my readings were coming out, from going from 55 joules to 66 joules. So this has happened multiple days in a row. It's just, and it doesn't take much, just like I just do the test, and then hold the bottles for just a few minutes, and not doing anything in particular, not meditating or anything. And I get somewhere right in that neighborhood of about a 10-point jump in the voltage. So the other thing to mention about the voltage is there is the work of a Harvard-trained doctor, Dr. Jerry Tennant. He runs the Tennant Institute, I believe, out of Texas, and his work is all around the body and voltage. And he had discovered that voltage is relative to your health. Actually, at a certain, I think it's 30 millivolts, of electricity in your cells. They don't reproduce, but if you get the energy up to 50 millivolts of energy in a cell, then it will reproduce normally. So this is one of the things that he talks about in his work. There's extensive work on voltage that you can go to his site and see about. And that's why we're saying about voltage is relative to health and why you might see some changes. All right. This has been a lot of fun over there. We sure do appreciate the opportunity to be out there at Blind Frog Ranch and do this work.
So just in wrapping up here, we want to say that measurably, there is a change on the property versus off a property. Anecdotally, it does appear that people who spend longer periods of time on the property do have a significantly amount of energy available to their bodies on a regular and a sustained basis. So we had a lot of fun. We hope to do more of this research in the future to prove longer lasting, longer term effects. But for now, we can say absolutely Blind Frog Ranch, 2 bodies on the ranch, is outside of the normal range that we see on a regular basis. So again, I'm Liz Larson. This is Bill McKenna. We're the team with Cognomovement. Thanks so much, Dwayne, for the opportunity. And thanks for everyone who is seeing this presentation and learning a little more about the mystery at the Blind Frog Ranch.